a wet weather in Coimbatore, this is how it's supposed to be. Coimbatore is like London. Unexpected weather, unexpected rain, unexpected heat. So we are in the R15 V3 with 155 cc, 18 Nm, 18 bhp at 10,000 rpm and 14 Nm of torque at 8,000 rpm. See, that's a special thing about this bike. It makes its power very high up in the rev band, literally up there at 10,000 rpm. So lower down there is no torque, lower down there is no grunt. It's a total different machine, and it goes in well with the character of the bike, keeping in mind this has the VVA, the variable valve actuation. So when we are like this, stuck in traffic, stuck in city, it's basically shut. There's a smaller valve, so less fuel is sipped into. The bike is more smoother, and once the VVA hits, that is somewhere about, oh, it's rainy and slushy, that's somewhere about 7,500 rpm. That is where the magic happens. So basically there's a higher profile cam. This is similar to VTEC kicked in yo. The only difference is VTEC kicks in a bit more harder, because obviously being a car, 4 cylinders, and in this it kicks in a little bit less. But nevertheless, it is a joy. It is a joy to rev around, and it is the highest, the most powerful 155cc bike out there, period. No other 150cc bike can match its performance. Even for the say, I know this car. Even for the say, no 200cc bike. 200cc bikes come equivalent to this. So that is how good the performance of the R15 V3 is. And it is well suited for the city roads. I mean, when you look at a fat bike, you imagine that the suspension would be really stiff and you'd get all the hits and bangs. But no, for this, the suspension is actually pretty nice. The suspension is tuned to take our hits too. The braking, there is no bite. Bite is really, really less. And the rear tends to slip around, probably because the entire weight of the machine is up front. So you have to be very careful in braking. Although yes, this does have a slipper clutch, so it does help you in quick downshifting and saves you from locking the wheel. But then the bite feel is really, really less. And sorry, my visor is getting all fogged up. Come on. God, rains make it so difficult, especially on a bike. But it's a joy. I mean, you should cane your machines no matter rain, no matter snow, no matter hail. You should cane them anywhere, everywhere. That is how it is supposed to be. This is a very caneable machine. Wow. Nice suspension, nice response. Although the lower end is little less. Up around the middle, the 6,000 RPM, where you can see the slope, that is where it picks up, that is where it starts gaining power. And once it gains the power, it is all smooth going from there onwards. Another check post. So as we were discussing, this engine loves to be revved. And it has a legit shifter light. When you're around 9,000 RPM, it starts flashing mad. It starts flashing crazy, asking you to shift. This is a very good introduction to what will happen when you get a sports bike, because the seating position is so hardcore that you need to get used to it. Commuting on this is not a problem as for the dynamics of the bike and as for the overall drivability and the suspension of the bike, but it is going to be a difficult in the posture. It is going to hurt your back, and more than the back, it is going to hurt your ankles. I mean, I've just been driving this bike for half a day and look at my hands already. You can see those marks. There's a lot of strain, there's a lot of stress on your hands. Yes, the RC 390s, the KTM RC series are also aggressively designed for the seating posture, but they have a higher clip-on. They have a higher clip-on, so you're basically holding here, so your body weight is a little bit more on your bum than on your hands. On this bike, your wrist and your back is in pain, and God, you have to get used to it. Otherwise, it's a difficult task. And they've actually made this bike a little bit shorter in the wheelbase than the version 2, which it replaces. So it's even more flickable now. Adding to its track charisma, we see so many R15s being tracked, and that shows the handling potential of the bike. It's a very high potency bike. I mean, you can make a lot of things out of this. Wow. Oh, it's getting fogged up again. God. I need anti-fog. And if you're someone like me who wears specs and a helmet, you have a fog on a fog layer. The only thing, small thing, which I have against the R15 is the people who buy it. Now, okay, I'm not being judgmental, but you know, if you buy an R15 and you're going really fast, even if you're all kitted up with a proper helmet and a riding jacket and oh shit and all that, people are still going to call you a pullingo. That is basically, you can call it squid in Tamil. So a lot of these guys who get their hands on the R15s, even the older ones in the second-hand market, tend to do a lot of chichorapana, tend to go in and out, weave into traffic, do unwanted shit, and in that sort of sense, yes, that is where I started getting a sort of disaffection towards the R15 because of the people who ride them. It's like people who buy a bullet and then try to, you know, cut on the bullet. Like, dude, why? Why? So, if those people could. So, except for that, yeah, this is a pretty good bike. The R15 also suffers from the same problem of its predecessor, the headlamp throw. It is not at all enough. It is insufficient whatsoever. In night rides, lack of headlamp just restricts your ability to take the corners or to even predict what is up, especially in rainy seasons. Driving this gets a little bit sketchy. But God, is this thing a looker? I mean, right from the first gen, R15s have been crazy, crazy lookers. And they've designed it like a budget R1. It looks like a mini R1, honestly. Who wouldn't want this bike? As for the pillion, yes, this is a sports bike, but if he or she is going to sit there, let it be for short rides, because nobody can sit in there for a longer time. That seat is literally non-existent. Nice response. The mid-end is where all the magic happens. I'm feeling a little sketchy in sending this bike because of the brakes. The rear ABS is on the sensitive side. It does tend to kick in. It just amazes me that how one manufacturer can do so many things so well. Yamaha has conquered the naked market with the FZ150, and now they're doing it again, the fairing market, with the R15. I mean, R15 is the first faired bike in the country which actually got it moving. I mean, the first one was the Charisma, but R15 got the thing moving. Everybody wanted an R15 when it was out. It just looked fast, standing still. It just looked fast. It looked so desirable. It looked like the bike out of Doom. People didn't know what are R1s and what are Ducatis. You know, the mass market never knew it. So this really brought it over there. The first bikes were priced around ₹1 lakh, which was really a sweet spot. You could spend 20-30K more than what the normal commuter bikes were going in. You could buy the R15. The first gen looked amazing, but the tires were very small. It wasn't that special. V2 was amazing. Came in with the Delta Box technology, the rear seat all scooped up, giving it a super bike feel. That was the thing when it learned to show people that you have to make compromises. This is where cops stand. So you have to make compromises for performance. That is what the V2 taught us, and the V3 is here to show you same. If you want to drive this bike, if you want to enjoy this bike, you have to make compromises. Yes, your back is going to hurt. Yes, your wrist is going to hurt. Yes, the pillion, he or she, whoever's sitting on the bike, they cannot sit in for a longer time. But those are the compromises which you accept, like as a sacrifice for the performance that this machine is here to give you. A 155cc bike which can give tough competition to any 200cc and even some 250cc bikes. But the only thing, the price, it's at 1,53,000, which for an R15 fanboy who just looks at the R15's poster all day long is justifiable. But for a person from the outside world, it isn't. There's no way you can justify 1,53,000 for a 150cc bike. God. Lol. Every time you brake hard, it makes an awkward sound. Listen to this. I don't know what sound it is, but listen. Okay, it doesn't like it, so let's not do it. So let's just wait for the cars to clear so we can do a free 0 to 100. VV opens up, 11,200 RPM. And 100. This is what I told you. This bike goes, but it just makes you feel that it's going so fast, mainly because it's revving its hearts out. So, as you were speaking earlier, that is a pain. Yes, your wrists are hurting, your back is hurting, your bum is hurting. It's a lot of strain, but then this is like a tutorial to a super bike segment. I mean, if you cannot take the pain, if you cannot endure the R15, I'm pretty sure you can't endure any liter class bike or any super sport bike, because they're going to be in a much more harder seating position and a much more harder handlebar position. So if someone learns to endure the R15, I'm pretty sure they'll learn to endure the liter class bikes too.
To put things in a nutshell, the R15 is an amazing product and has grown a huge fan base, mostly because of this man. Yes, finding an R15 without VR46 stickering is a rare sight. Stereotypes aside, with few subtle changes to the bike like a better headlamp setup, LED turn indicators and upside down forks, which is available in the international market, it would mean icing on the cake for this bike. This is Aslam, hope you liked the video, stay tuned for more.